All right. Welcome to MMA Dynasty podcast. We're 2 weeks away from UFC 280 and coming at you with a good episode. This episode was supposed to start a little earlier, but I had an issue with my toilet. So what happened was I actually usually throw apples in my toilet. Like I'll eat apples and I'll eat them down to the core and then I'll just flush them in my toilet because I'll bring them up to my room. And I like really had to take a shit last week and I was eating this apple and I was like, fuck, like I'm almost done with it, but there's still like a lot of meat on the apple. So I might as well just flush that down first. Anyway, that messed up my toilet and my toilet hasn't been working very well. And I just tried to flush it before the podcast started and it just flooded and just started going everywhere in the bathroom. It went out into my room and anyway, I had to clean that shit out, like all the water. So thank goodness it stopped. If it didn't stop, that would have been the worst thing ever.
You would have had to call
Yeah, I would have had to call
Would you
maintenance,
even
bro.
call a plumber?
I know it's also nighttime. That literally would have fucked everything up. Thank goodness it was only like a 15-20 minute thing. But yeah, anyway, we're back.
I was watching my crappy Mets play. They're about to lose.
Oh, for real? This is their last game, right?
Yeah.
They can't, if they lose, what's the score?
They're down 4-0.
Down 4-0. Damn. So how come you're a Mets fan? Like, I'm guessing your dad is a Mets fan.
Yeah, my family has just been Mets fans. So
Yeah.
you know how it is in New York. Like some people are Yankees,
Yeah, of course.
Mets.
So
yeah.
are you gonna root for the Yankees if the Mets lose? Like usually if the Yankees are out and the Mets are in, I'll go for the Mets just because like
I don't know. I honestly
you just don't care at that point.
That point I'm not. I don't really care too much. You know,
That's crazy.
You
It's
watch
crazy. Yeah.
and then it's like they lose in the first round in the wild card against a team they were supposed to win. That's just
I know.
crap.
I remember
That's what I like about the UFC. And that's why I decided to follow UFC more, because I feel like these team sports, there's one winner every year. Everyone else is going to be upset at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like that's crappy, you know? Like it really just like hurts your mood. Like, you know what I mean? Like if your team loses, like you just feel crappy for the rest of the day. Like, you know what I mean? Like if your team loses in the playoffs, you're going to feel crappy for weeks. Like, you know what I mean? But in UFC, we're lucky to be fans of multiple fighters,
right?
Like many fighters, and like they don't lose that much. You know what I'm saying? So like they just don't, like these top fighters, like most of them don't really lose much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, or at least like a Charles Oliveira, he's won his last 11 fights. And then like you get like Chimaev, who's undefeated, like Usman, who, I mean, we're not Usman fans, but he hasn't lost a fight in his whole career until that fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like there's always people winning these fights.
Yeah,
like,
there's always people winning. So it's a lot more positive. And I feel like, like even if one of our fighters loses, the next week and a fighter we like will win. You know what I mean? And we'll be happy for them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like. That's what's so good about the UFC. And that's why one of the reasons why it's my favorite sport for sure.
Yeah, definitely. MMA is my favorite sport. Like I can't lie, baseball during the postseason is interesting, but if it's not the postseason, it's just kind of. And even if it is the postseason, if one team is up like 2-0, it's not as interesting. I mean, like yesterday, or I was at a restaurant and the Blue Jays were playing the Mariners, and it was like 8-8, and in the eighth inning, like that's interesting for sure. That's interesting, but I mean, outside of the postseason, it's really not that great. But I'm not gonna lie, like. I'll definitely be tuning into some Yankees games. They're playing the Indians, but they're called the fucking Guardians now. Do you know that? Yeah. Do you know that? They're called the Guardians now.
So stupid.
Oh my God. That's such a whack name. Like
I still call them the Indians.
Yeah, everyone calls them the Indians. The Guardians. Like, what is that? Anyway, yeah, I hope the Yankees win the World Series, but if they don't, like it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like that's why you just can't get too invested in these sports. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like if the Yankees, like if you're super invested in a team, the Yankees, let's say you're invested in the Yankees, lose, like you just feel crappy for weeks.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like that's not good. That's not good.
Imagine Darren Till fans how they felt when Darren Till fought Woodley and he didn't land a punch. But at least they got to see other guys. You know, I mean, that's the thing. You know, there's always guys. There's got to be a fan of the UFC that stopped being a fan because like all of his favorite fighters just lost the entire year. That would suck. Imagine this. Imagine if this is how the year started. So who are some big winners? Like imagine give me some guys that have fought this year that you've watched. I mean, Charles Oliveira, that's one. That's one. Like, yeah, big winners, like guys that have won that you've wanted to win.
I mean, oh, not for me. Oh, for me, I
Yeah,
didn't want Chimaev,
Oliveira.
Oliveira.
Yeah,
I even like Fazeev. You know what I mean?
Viziev,
I like Costa, like
Costa.
all these guys. Like,
But imagine if all of them got knocked out in the first round in their last 4 fights. Like that would be that. Imagine if Chimaev got knocked out by Burns in the first round or just beat by decision. Imagine if Oliveira got knocked out by Justin Gaethje. Like this would be a way worse year. Let's be honest.
yeah, but isn't it? But it's so nice that we could just like, and I feel like in certain instances, like we're like, it's hard to root for a certain fighter, and we end up like being happy for either fighter who wins. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for sure.
So like, I feel like that's also a great feeling. Like when Charles and Poirier fought, I wasn't really cheering for one of them. You know what I mean? It's like either one who won, like I would have been happy for them. You know what I mean?
For sure.
That's kind of nice about UFC, you know, compared to others.
That leads me to ask if there's one fighter that you'd love to see win the most in a big situation, who would it be? But give me your top three, because like obviously you're gonna say Oliveira, because I would say Oliveira too, bro. When it comes down to his next fight,
I'm gonna say Conor McGregor.
Bro, he's on my list too. He's got to. Why is he on your list, bro? Because he's on my list.
Because when Conor wins, the world's a better place.
Yeah, for sure, 100. Couldn't have said it.
MMA world's a better place. Let's just say that. There's some hype about him. There's like, oh, is he gonna win the belt? Like, there's just like the different talks, you know. In terms of Conor, Charles Oliveira, I love him as a champion. You know, all of his fights are absolute bangers. Like, and I feel like you said last week, like the fact that he gets knocked down and he looks like he could lose and then ends up winning is even more impressive. You know what I mean? That makes it even more entertaining. And that makes you like him more, you know? So I would say Oliveira for sure, especially because like it's against Makhachev. You know what I mean? I feel like I wouldn't have minded if Poirier beat him, because Poirier's entertaining. I wouldn't have minded if Gaethje beat him. I wouldn't have minded when Chandler beat him, because those guys are if those guys beat him, I mean, because those guys are actually entertaining. There are some real interesting fights for them. In terms of Islam Makhachev, what good fights are there for him after Charles? There isn't really.
There aren't big fights.
I'm not interested in seeing Gamrot versus Oliveira. I'm not interested in seeing Dariush versus Oliveira versus Makhachev is a little bit interesting, but still, like, it's not that interesting.
Dude, I just wanted to mention this. Like, if you really think about it, after Charles and Oliveira fight, you know, considering that Dustin and Gaethje, they're kind of going to be on their way out eventually. These up and comers like Gamrot, Saryukian, Kutaledze, like this next wave of lightweights, they're not going to be big names. I'm just straight up going to say none of these guys are going to be big names.
Not marketable.
Because they're not marketable, and their fights aren't. Like Fiziev could be marketable because he's a good striker and he can knock people out. But other than that, like, these aren't big names. They don't have marketable personalities. They're not big. They don't have like crazy fight styles. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think, you know, we were lucky. We were spoiled to have a guy like Conor McGregor, and even Khabib. Compared to Islam, Khabib has a personality. You know, I mean, I was watching Khabib and Conor best moments the other day, like a 40-minute video of their best moments on their own. And I was thinking, man, how does this compare to the build up to UFC 280? And even though we're not at fight week yet for UFC 280, there's no way UFC 280 is going to have that level of hype and intrigue, because there's no talk, there's no heat, there's no, like, both of these guys are not even English speakers, Islam and Charles. Like, you know, O'Malley, for example, this big star, like, sure, it'd be good for O'Malley to win, but would it really be that great? Because of course it'd be good for the sport, but if O'Malley wins, it's not like he's going to be shit talking at the next press conference. And like, O'Malley's not a shit talker. And when he says things like, I want to be Conor McGregor status, or I want, like, you cannot get there essentially. And this is no shot to O'Malley. Like, I'm still a fan. I'm not one of these, but he is never going to be that big of a star because he doesn't talk. Like, he talks on his stream. He's entertaining on his podcast, but when he's in front of the UFC cameras and it's time to promote his fight on the UFC platform, at what press conference has he been entertaining at? Never. I've never seen O'Malley be entertaining at a press conference. He just sits there and just
looks goofy. That's why he's entertaining. because
Exactly.
the way he looks, because of
The
how
way he looks, his fight style is awesome. But, you know, I get why Paddy Pimblett, for example, can be a huge star, bigger than Sean, because even though he's not necessarily shit talking all the time, he does shit talk. And when he gets on the mic, like he's very loud and he's got a big personality.
he's got things to say.
Yeah, he's got things to say. Sean O'Malley, I feel like everything he has to say is on his own platform, on his own podcast. But when he gets in front of the UFC cameras, it's just like really short, boring answers. So when I ask myself, like, who do I really want to win? I mean, is O'Malley winning really going to blow up the sport that much? Like, it'd be cool if he won and then he just started talking shit. But
I can't see that happening though. He's just gonna win and be like, I want to fight for the belt. That's it.
He's entertaining in his, like, you know, social media, but I wish he was more entertaining on the mic. I think he sucks. Underrated. Like, people don't bring this up enough, but O'Malley kind of sucks on the mic. Yeah. Let's be honest.
I agree. I mean, there's not that many fighters who are too good on the mics right now.
Dude, I would say Chandler is better on the mic.
Good.
Like, yeah.
Chandler's good. Patty's good. Connor, obviously. I mean,
yeah, Connor.
Colby's good.
Colby's great.
Shemaev's
great.
Really
like, at least, yeah.
Like that's kind of it, you know.
Kevin Holland's pretty good in post fight press conferences.
Oliveira's good, even if we can't understand. I mean, we can't understand him. I mean, he's got some attitude, but still we can't understand him. So
let me ask you: is there more of a mystique about Oliveira? Like this, I feel like he's got this more mysterious thing about him because he doesn't speak English.
Yeah,
I think it even makes him more scary.
It makes him more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Like we just assume what he actually is like. You know what I mean? Like
we have no idea what this guy would sound like if
we don't know if this guy would sound like if on these post fights. You know what I mean? Like we have no idea. We just think it sounds cool how he talks because we don't understand. You know what I mean? No, so I do agree. I think that is kind of do you think if he learned like English, like he would be a bigger star?
Honestly,
or do you think this whole this not
I really think I don't know, but I honestly don't think like he really needs it because his fights are so entertaining and he's got this comeback story that everyone can get behind. He's just he is the only example of a fighter that can be like really successful without speaking any English. Of course, there's some guys, like for example, if Francis Ngannou didn't speak English, I'd still think he'd be successful because he can knock people out. But in order to be that successful, you still
Oliveira though.
Yeah. It still wouldn't. And I think what it is, it's the combination of his story, like the underdog story, overcoming, like coming from the slums and then having a rocky career at first. And also it's based on the fact that like his fights are so entertaining. Like they're so crazy and people love to see those fights. Oliveira has the best title fights out of any champion right now. Of course, Yuri's title fight was insane, but he only has one of them. And Charles is even crazier because he's getting finishes. So like Charles is, I mean, yeah, but let's talk about that. I mean, I don't think this is going to be as big as UFC 229. UFC 229, Conor and Khabib is the best it'll ever get. But this is as close as you can get without any trash talk. You know what I mean? Like this is as close as you can get without any trash talk.
This is just like a nerve. I have these nerves about this.
Same, man.
I've just never had before. Even for Charles Khabib versus Conor. These nerves because it's so many different like guys. There's such valuable fights that are going to be on it. Let's just say that valuable for the UFC. You got Charles Islam, most important fight of the year. Let's just say that.
100%.
You get O'Malley versus Jan. You have the guy who's a up and coming star in an O'Malley against the number one guy in the division. If O'Malley wins, he's fighting for the belt, which is what the UFC want. You know what I mean? They want the big stars to fight for belts. So that's huge. You get Aljo for Dillashaw. I mean, that's just another like it's a big deal, obviously, but it's a bantamweight. Like I don't know. That's still a big deal.
That's the one out of the top three that I care about the least. Because any of those guys wins, like well, I don't really care that much about it, but it'll be a good fight nonetheless.
Still a good fight, still a good matchup. I mean, but Gamrot, then you get Gamrot versus Beneil. You get a guy in Gamrot who is almost at a title shot, an up and coming guy in the division. We were talking about before, like 10 minutes ago, like the up and coming guys, like the Gamrots, the Sarukians. this could be the start of that. You know what I mean? If Gamrot wins. So I think that's really entertaining. You get Bilal Muhammad, Sean Brady, guys who are at the top of the welterweight division, one of the most popular divisions. You know what I mean? So there's just so much like implications from these fights, and it's just so entertaining because like it's gonna be a rough night for some guys. Let's just say that.
Yeah, for sure.
Night. It's gonna be a rough night. And I don't think we're gonna be happy about everybody who wins. Let's just say that.
No, but listen, if Oliveira wins, I'll be fucking happy.
Yeah, so
like everyone else that I pick to, if they lose, that's cool as long as Oliveira wins.
Yeah, we were talking about it like in terms of being fans of certain fighters. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's a night that you could just be like so happy, but also so upset.
I know
big fighters are fighting on that. But which makes me ask, like, what fighters on that card do you want to win?
Okay, great. Because I wanted to have the same discussion. So this will be a little bit different. First, the prelims are stacked too. I mean,
yeah. Oh,
the
by the way,
like a fight night.
Makayev's on it.
Makayev, Hamzat's training partner. This guy Baralho, he's a great fighter. Volkan Ozdemir, Nikita Krylov, some of Habib's training partners, Islam's training partners. Muhammad Makayev, Jelton Almeida. He's fighting at heavyweight, so we know that he's going to move up. Last time he did a catchweight bout. He's going to fight at heavyweight against Shamil Abdurakhimov. I mean, that's such a stacked card. It's unbelievable. Who do I want to win? So if I'm looking at the card right now and I'm going to break down the main card, I want Mateusz Gamrot to win against Beneil Dariush. He's younger. He's the fresher fighter. He's the younger face. Like, let's be honest, Beneil Dariush, no one really gives a fuck about him. Sure, he can be entertaining. He's got a wild style on the feet, but he's a grappler. I think he would be a great matchup for Islam. And I also think Mateusz Gamrot would be a tough matchup for Islam. But Mateusz Gamrot, I think, has more potential overall. He's the younger guy. He has competed at ADCC before. He's such a good grappler. I want Mateusz Gamrot to win. I think more people could get behind him. Now, Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan. This is a tough one because I'm a fan of both of them. I'm a big Petr Yan fan, but I'm also a Sean O'Malley fan. If I were to just say, okay, you can choose and whoever you pick is going to win by knockout, I would say I'd rather Sean O'Malley to win by knockout because this is really his only chance. Like if Sean O'Malley is not getting past Petr, like I think Sean O'Malley can get ran through by some of these guys that are going to be great grapplers. I want Sean O'Malley to win because I want to see him achieve the stardom that he could achieve. I want to see how big he can get as a star because he has more star power than Petr Yan. That being said, even though I would rather Sean O'Malley win, I'd be very happy if Petr Yan wins. If Petr Yan TKO Sean O'Malley, I'll be happy because I'm a fan of Petr Yan. And like Petr Yan's a badass. Like it's easy to be a fan of him. Now, Aljo versus TJ, I want Aljamain to win. I've never really been a big TJ fan. I wasn't really a huge fan when he was, at his peak. And then I saw him get knocked out by Cejudo when I really was a big fan when I really was a huge fan of the UFC. The first TJ fight I saw was him and Cejudo. He got knocked out. He's coming off of a long layoff. And then he got suspended. Then he came back. He fought Corey. I thought Corey should have won. So I think TJ won by robbery. Like I'd rather Aljamain win. I don't mind Aljamain. I just don't want him to be Petr Yan. I'm just a Petr Yan fan. And then Charles, I obviously want Charles to win. So I think it'd be way better for the sport if Charles wins. If Islam wins this fight, it kind of we have a rip off of Habib with no personality, the same dude. Like we've seen it before. He looks the same. It's so dry, I would hate Islam as champion. I think it would suck. I mean, respect to his skills if he wins, but fuck, man, with that. I mean, listen, it's essentially just like Habib is champ again, but with no personality and it's a different person. You're just not Habib, bro. You're not Habib.
Why do we need to see it again? We saw it already.
We saw it already.
But for me, I would say I want Gamrot to win. I think he's a way more entertaining fighter than Dariush. Both of them aren't entertaining people, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that influential, I guess, for either one who wins. Because likely those are the two most boring guys at the top of the division, like personality wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Gamrot is definitely the more entertaining fighter, though, I would say.
Yeah.
He's smoother style. Dariush kind of is just like, I know his striking, he's had some knockouts, but he's not too entertaining on the feet. He kind of just like he grapples, you know what I mean? But I feel like he doesn't really get that many like he's not an entertaining grappler, let's just say that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like he doesn't really like get many submissions, doesn't really do much ground and pound. He's more of like a controller, you know what I mean? He controls guys on the ground. Gamrot, on the other hand, just keeps working. You know what I'm saying? That's his kind of style. Like he's the Colby Covington of 55.
Yeah.
Just entertaining, and I think Colby's super entertaining. So I would definitely want Gamrot to win. In terms of Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley, I want Peter Yan to win. I have to say that. I like Sean O'Malley.
Let's hear it, because like a part of me was okay. Let me just. I said I'd want Sean O'Malley, but I think my brain says I want Sean O'Malley. But like, to be honest, I kind of want to see Peter Yan knock him out.
So do I. But it's not even.
I think it would just restore. It would just restore like peace to the world. Peter Yan is the beast of that division. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's not even that I don't like Sean O'Malley. That's the thing. Like I like Sean O'Malley. I do. I rooted for him every single fight he's had. You know what I mean? And I would think if he fought most guys in that division, I would probably root for him. You know?
Yeah.
But Peter Yan has to be one of my favorite fighters, without a doubt. He's so entertaining. All of his fights are bangers, and like we don't know if all of Sean O'Malley's fights will be good at the top. You know what I mean? We have no idea. Maybe he'll be hesitant like he was against Prelim Pedro. Like who?
And Peter Yan's just a Terminator too. Like he's got that stoic. Like he's also got the same thing as Charles, where he doesn't really speak English, but you can still get behind him because he's like he's got a mystique about him.
Yeah, and also like I mean Sean, he's kind of full of himself. You know what I mean? Like he's a little cocky, and like it would kind of be cool to see, like kind of nice and satisfying to see him get knocked out, I guess. which is so weird because I like his content and I like Sean O'Malley, but like sometimes like he's just kind of like a little too cocky in my opinion. So I think that would be kind of nice to see Peter Yan knock him out. But
it would just make sense, you know.
It would also make sense. The number 1 guy knocking out the number 13 guy, like that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
Aljo, TJ, I want Aljo to win. I don't like TJ. I don't care for TJ. I think he's a jerk.
He's a steroid cheat as well.
I think he's a steroid cheating jerk. Everyone thinks he's fake. Like the whole Cody Garbrandt thing. Sure, you remember that. He's fake. He's a piece of shit. He's a cheater. Can't root for someone like that. Yeah,
like who's really a fan of TJ? That's why I'm just an Aljo fan. Like I can understand liking his skills, but he's washed anyway.
Yeah,
I'm not even a big Aljo fan, you know, but I'd rather him win.
The thing about Aljo is I don't think he's that entertaining at all as of a fighter, but I think he seems like a nice guy, and like I actually like his content, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think he's got pretty good content in terms of the top. Maybe we could do a segment on that, but top fighters social media, or like
dude, I'd love to do that tonight. That'd be excellent.
Yeah, like let's do that after we talk about this. But
sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely like his content. I think it's very underrated. And he deserves more followers than he has, I would say. Charles Oliveira Islam. I want to see Charles win. I can't. Like I can't see another Khabib. I can't. I know, you know, we've seen it already. It's not entertaining when you see it twice. It's just not. And the thing that Jared was saying that was very interesting was that the people who are fans of Islam aren't actually fans of Islam. They're fans of Khabib.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like that at all. That rubs me the wrong way, and I feel like Islam's legacy is all it's Khabib. Like it's like based off Khabib, you know. Like I feel like what is he like looking at his record? Like that's nothing's impressive. So like even if he beat Charles, like I feel like it would still be still talking about Khabib and stuff, and like I just don't like that. So I definitely want
robot.
Charles.
He's like a robot.
Yeah, he's just like a robot who Khabib sent in to win the division. You know what I'm saying?
Much. Like Khabib's, pretty much Khabib's robot. You know, that's pretty much what it is, and that's why no one can get behind him.
And I think he seems like I don't know if he seems like a nice. He doesn't really like. I don't know. He doesn't really show any emotions though. You know, like I was gonna say, like maybe I think he's kind of a nice
funny.
Guy, but he doesn't.
He can be funny. Like I've seen him in DC. DC will bring him onto his podcast. Like they have a funny dynamic. Like Daniel Cormier and Khabib and those guys. So he can be funny, but like I feel like, you know,
he's a robot.
He's way more robotic than Khabib though.
Yeah, Khabib had this feel good, like you felt good. He
Yeah,
made
for sure.
he like you just like he was easy to get behind, I guess.
Yeah.
He was super hard worker. He documented the hard work. Like you saw it
Yeah.
more from Khabib, like doing it for like family and all that stuff. Like he just like he set up more of the right things. Let's just say that, like he kind of just expressed his emotion more. Let's just say that. So
Yeah.
that's why I like
Did you want Khabib to win against Gaethje?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I was
I
rooting
want
for
him to
Khabib.
beat Poirier too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know who I wanted in that fight, but I kind of was cool with Khabib winning. I really wanted him to beat Gaethje. I think when he beat Gaethje, I really became I wanted him to continue to fight, because when he beat Gaethje, I said to myself, like, nobody's beating him. But
Yeah,
we never
I
know,
like
because
that. I like
Charles
the
exists.
guys with perfect records. I do. I feel like I'm someone who I like that clean, perfect record. You know what I mean? Like so like Khabib keep winning. Like I would have liked that, like when Floyd Mayweather was like 40 something and 0, I was wanting him to keep winning so he could keep that O. I mean, I like those O's. So I definitely liked Khabib for sure. And that's what's interesting, because people think we hate Khabib. We
They're
we
such
don't at
idiots.
all.
They're
We
fools.
like Khabib. We're Khabib fans. I was thinking about the other day. Khabib is one of my top 10 favorite fighters of all time. For
Dude,
sure.
straight up, I'd say the same. Like,
For
he's
sure.
definitely in there.
I just don't like Makhachev. I don't hate him. He's just like, he's not Khabib, and that's like what I don't like.
It's just that we're fans of Charles. It's not that we don't like Islam, but we want Charles to win. We think he's gonna win as well. We think it'd be better for the sport. We don't have to like kiss Islam Makhachev's ass. We're not picking him, and we also don't want him to win. So like, why should we sit here and say he's the best thing of all time when we're not huge fans of him? Like, we don't have to be a fucking huge fan of him.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like automatically people think you're hating. We're not hating on Islam by saying we don't think he wins. We're just picking Charles. That's how it is. Like,
we're picking the guy who we're more intrigued with, like, and who we also think is going to win, like you said.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about Islam also, what I would say is, like, I think if he fought a guy like Poirier or like one of those guys, I would cheer for Islam. I probably would. I would cheer for him against Poirier.
Nah, I'd cheer for Poirier.
No?
I'd cheer for Poirier to knock him out, bro.
Really?
Sure.
I feel like
I'd cheer for Islam against maybe Beneil Dariush. Nah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I would cheer for anyone to knock out Islam Makhachev. But if he loses to Charles, then I want him to do well, for sure.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you on that.
But like, I'm gonna be real. Like, I just would. You know what it is? It's because Khabib had a perfect record. I didn't want to see Khabib lose, but I don't mind seeing Islam lose, because I just don't want another one of those guys that's, you know what it is? I don't want Islam to be the next really good guy, just because we've seen it already, bro. Just anyone who can stop the hype train, I'm with it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel like Chimaev is one of those, that level though. That's what I was thinking about. One night I was just thinking about, like, I'm like, Chimaev is never gonna lose, is he? Like, I was really just had that
I don't think he is.
I had that thought in my head. I'm like, Chimaev's never gonna lose, is he? Like I was watching some Khabib stuff, and like, Khabib 29-0, obviously. He wasn't gonna lose, you know what I mean? Unless it was like a crazy head kick like Leon, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about Chimaev is he's got that wrestling, but he's also got the striking too. Like the very good striking too. So this guy's not losing. Like, I'm saying this right now, Chimaev will go undefeated in his UFC career, or he'll have like something that happens like Usman, he gets like a head kick,
for sure,
knockout, but not really a fluke, but you know what I mean, like a 1 in 100 knockout. So, but yeah, no, but that's just what I was thinking. But I don't hate Islam, but like Charles being champion is way better for the sport.
Yeah,
he intrigues me more, and I think he's gonna win. So yeah, we're not Islam haters. We're just Charles fans. Let's just say that. But
let's talk about the best UFC fighter content creators. Like, which UFC fighters have the best YouTube channels? That'd be a great combo.
I like that.
Who's a couple that come to mind for you?
So to come to mind, okay, Sean O'Malley, I love his content for sure. I love his podcast. He's got the one with Tim Welch, and he's also got the one with his brother. Both those are very good. I like Aljo for sure. I think his content's the most underrated, without a doubt. I like his podcast. He knows what he's saying. That's what's good about a lot of these fighters. Like they really know what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're in and they're up close to it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So you have like a very accurate like point of view, I guess. So I like those two. I'm trying to think who else. The retired fighters and stuff, I don't really like as much. Like I don't like, are we including retired fighters?
Let's just do active right now. I mean, there's some retired guys like Chill is okay, but like his stuff used to be a lot better.
You know, I wanted to say something about Chill on record. I'm so tired of his content. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
I'm getting so sick of it. He like, first of all, he's a Colby Covington fanboy.
Yeah.
Fanboy. Like he keeps talking bad about Chimaev. Like he talks about like ways to like, he's just trying to like find ways to get Colby back at the belt, fighting for the belt without fighting Chimaev. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he never like holds Colby accountable for not wanting to fight Chimaev. That's what I don't like. Because Colby's his boy and everything. I also don't like him against Charles. Like I think he underrates Charles very much. And he even said on an interview, no, not an interview, on one of his videos that Charles versus Islam a year and a half ago, wouldn't even be on a main card. What the like what?
That's the thing. I think Chael Sonnen says a lot of things that I think he exaggerates way too much. Like he exaggerates way too much by saying something like it wouldn't be on the main card. Like that would have been a championship fight. That's what I can't get behind with Chael. He'll say things that he knows is complete bullshit and a huge exaggeration, but he just says it to try to make his point. And you can't get away with those statements. You just can't.
Yeah, you can't because you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, but you know what? He did do funny. He was like, guys, we're going to talk about Grasso versus whatever. And then he was like, just kidding. And then he was like, guys, just hold in here. We only have a few more weeks left to 280. So that was kind of funny. But
that's hilarious. I respect Chill for that one.
Yeah, I saw that. It was kind of funny, but I do think also the fact he also was like Jake Paul isn't going to knock out Anderson Silva. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. I've seen that.
How do you know that? Anderson's 47. He keeps his hands down a lot. That's his boxing style.
Yeah, like Jake those are the kinds of statements that like, they don't make any sense.
They don't make sense. Like I think if Jake Paul wins, he's going to knock out Anderson Silva. I think that's how he would win.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that's what I don't like about Chael. But Michael Bisping, I mean, like
he's kind
walks
of
on that. He walks
on eggshells.
Anthony Smith, like him and
I like when they actually talk about fights and MMA fights, but whenever they're talking about like other stuff, I'm not really into it.
Yeah, they walk on eggshells. You know, they're too you know how it
What
is.
about John McCarthy and the Weighing In podcast?
Yeah. I watched that.
It used to be better, bro. A lot of these older fighters, they used to have much better podcasts. They're all kind of going downhill.
Yeah, I don't really.
What about Israel Stylebender? Do you ever see his?
Oh, you want me to be honest with you? I like his content.
I think his content's. I like his content. I don't watch his vlogs. I watch his fight reactions. Sometimes his predictions.
I do. I like it. I have to be honest.
It's well done. It's well edited. Very well.
I like Adesanya's content. If only his fighting was as entertaining as his content.
And that's one thing I respect about Adesanya. There's two things actually. Number one is he tries to promote himself, which is great. Number two is that he's active. Like he posts on social media. He has a YouTube channel. He's active on it. It's very well done. He puts his personality out there and he fights all the time. And he's also like one of the biggest champions. Volkanovski is a YouTube channel too. I don't really watch it that much. Like I don't watch it. Volk is cool. He's a cool guy, but I like watching his interviews. I don't really want to just see him, which is, I guess not everyone has that personality, but
I like Costa. I like Costa's stuff.
Does Costa have content?
Yeah.
Really? I haven't really seen his content.
So funny.
What does he do?
He does just random stuff, like vlogs and everything.
Okay. I know he did something with Liver King.
Yeah, that I saw that. That was so funny. I like
Yeah.
Shemaev's
Would
content.
would you would you eat like shitloads of raw liver like that?
No,
Would
I
you?
wouldn't. Would
I
you?
I mean, like
I
I like
saw you
liver, but
post
still,
something
like
about that.
that's nasty.
I saw you post something about that on Instagram. Like, what
Yeah,
was that about?
liver is excellent. Liver is the highest concentration of like essential vitamins out of any food that you could possibly eat. So it's a really good food. However,
It's not impressed with
it
it.
has so much vitamin A, and you can get vitamin A toxicity by having too much of it. So you can get poisoned if you eat too much of it. So liver's the kind of food where like you might have this much each day. That's good. That's really good for you. But like having a huge all this liver every single day is way too much. But it is healthy. I wouldn't eat raw shit. Like I'm not into the raw meat stuff. Like I don't like that.
No, I'm not. But back to those fighters. I like Henry Cejudo's content. I don't know if you could consider him.
I tried watching it recently because he started posting a lot. I just Henry Cejudo, I think he's a little slow. Like he seems high. He seems really high in his podcasts. Like he seems like, I don't know. There's something off with Cejudo that I don't like.
Yeah.
There's just something about his podcast that I just don't like, bro. I feel like he's like super stoned or something. Like he's like Mike Tyson in a way where he can't really speak that much. I don't know. Like I feel like he's very dry.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who else has some good some content. I feel like we've kind of like I don't there's not that many
But
other
I like how these guys are making content. I think it's awesome. And
Yeah.
respect to Adesanya for being a big champion and Volk for being a big champion and doing it. Like I know some guys stream, like Max Holloway streams a lot. Who are some like I mean, yeah, I think it's dope. I think Sean O'Malley underratedly has like the best like consistent content for sure.
Yeah, I love his podcast, honestly.
Yeah, his podcast is very good.
We're really good. And him and Tim Welch, I really
Him and
like.
Tim Welch, like that's the like I remember 2018, like when I was really getting into it, they had those much smaller podcasts. Like I think they were renting out a room. Like they probably still have a studio, like, but it's way better now. I went back to watch some of their early episodes. They were so young, man. And like, it's crazy how much their podcast has actually grown, because back then it must've been like maybe 10K, 15K subscribers. I don't know. Now it's like 400,000, so they're doing really well. Did you see MMA Guru was interviewed by Sean O'Malley?
Yeah, that was interesting. That was real interesting. I feel like I saw his video after his reaction. He thought he did really bad. I thought he
didn't
did well.
do that badly. He did well, in my opinion. I think he did well.
Yeah, he did well. I mean, Sean didn't have him on for very long at all.
Yeah, they only had him on for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes. Like I don't think he could really say much. And half the time they was talking about him versus Peter Yan. You know what I mean? Like they weren't really getting into like I think that was on Sean and Tim, honestly. I think that was their fault, if anything.
Yeah.
They weren't really asking him much
questions. They weren't asking him. I think once they realized like he wasn't going to kiss their ass, they were probably.
Yeah. I think that upset Sean a little bit, I
Definitely.
think that hurt his ego a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that was on Tim and Sean for sure. Like, I mean, when you have a guest, like you saw our interviews like with Jared and Sam Alvey, like we asked him questions, like even if the guru isn't the pro fighter, still have to ask him questions, and they didn't ask him any questions. Sean just asked him about himself. You know what I mean? And like,
well, what do you think about their assessment? Because I think he said, one of the things that was funny is he said, well, do you think I should have been born in Siberia? And he was like, well, the fact, like, you're just not existing as a Siberian. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, he's kind of right.
Jan has, similar to Chimaev, like Chimaev from Chechnya, like there's just a different kind of toughness that you have when you're from one of those countries.
It's the mountains, like, it's a different level. Yeah, they train way harder from the start. Like it's just exactly. So I think he's right. And I think thing about Sean, like, I mean, like when you look at this fight, like you get a guy like Peter Yan who has been like training for way long. I'm sure he trained way longer than Sean. I heard about Sean's beginning, like, he hasn't been training for that long. He started a little bit later.
Sean's been training since I think he was like
He's been training for like 10 years. I think a little
Yeah.
bit. No, he's been training since later on. He was saying something about it, but like I just Peter Yan, Chimaev, like Khabib, those guys have been training their whole lives.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, and you can't. Also thinking about Sean, like you can't cheat up the rankings. You know that's how it is,
Yeah.
and that would be kind of like one of the reasons I want Peter to win is because it'll prove to us that you can't cheat the rankings. You can't go from 13-1.
You can't go from like not doing anything in front of Pedro Munoz to beating Petr Yan.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that would be satisfying to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah, no, but back to the creators. I mean, that's kind of, but yeah, like you said, it's very good that these creators are trying to do something at least. You know, these fighters trying to do something, and I think every single fighter should be doing. Maybe they're not. It doesn't need to be podcast. Just have a YouTube channel, and just post. You know what I'm saying? Like people interested. So
yeah, on the O'Malley fight with Yan, I do think O'Malley has a chance. Like for sure, he has a chance because he could outstrike Yan in the first round and he could edge out the second. I just think that it's after what I saw with Pedro Munoz, where he looked so scared to engage. And this is Pedro Munoz, who's old, who's like going to be retired in a few years. He's not going to be able to do that with Petr Yan. So I just think that, and, you know, think of the guys that O'Malley has fucked up. I mean, these are low ranking guys, not low level, but low ranked guys that are like outside of the top 15. So, I mean, Eddie Wineland, you know, Almeida, these guys might get cut from the UFC. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think that order is going to be restored to the division, and that's what's going to go down. But big fight coming up: Shavkat versus Geoff Neal. That's a big fight.
Yeah, I think this is we called this. We've called this many times.
Yeah,
perfect fight for Shavkat. The perfect fight for Shavkat. You got a guy like Geoff Neal. Isn't one of the best grapplers. Has power. He's got good hands for sure. He's not one of the best grapplers. It's not going to be too hard for Chimaev to take down. But he's a good enough grappler to the point where you could say that, like, at least it's not terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he beat a Wonder, and it would show us something. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
if he
for sure.
Fight a Wonder Boy, he just demolished him, take him to the ground, submitted him or whatever. That's not showing us anything. Geoff Neal is decent grappling though. You know what I'm saying?
He's got good takedown defense. He's strong. He's got really heavy
it's not
hands.
Hard enough. It won't be hard enough for Shavkat to really struggle, take him down much, or holding him down or submitting him. So I think this is the perfect match for Shavkat. He wins here. He's in the top 7, and he fights a Brady or Bilal or something.
Maybe Gilbert Burns taking on another.
You know what they're gonna do?
That would be sick if Gilbert Burns would take on another guy like that after Chimaev. I don't think he's gonna.
I was actually thinking about that with that division. They're gonna make Brady or Bilal fight Shavkat, are they? Right?
I really hope so. I mean,
they're going.
I hope so. Who else is? There's no one else for him besides Burns. There's no one else.
They're for sure.
Maybe Hamzat.
They're not going to do that. No, I think because look, you want to do everything you can to make Brady and Bilal not fighting for the belt and not being champion. You do not want one of those guys being the champion. And
definitely not.
The way to make sure it doesn't happen is having him fight Shavkat.
Yeah, but then Shavkat would get the title shot.
No, Shavkat would beat Neal. He'd beat Bilal, Brady. He'd fight Colby. He'd beat Colby, and then he'd fight for the title.
But the thing is, Brady and Bilal, if Bilal wins, he's on a massive win streak. He's at least 1 away. And if Shavkat beats a guy that's 1 away, that's the #1 contenders fight. Colby, I don't think he's in the convo. I really don't, because I don't think he's going to fight anyone.
Yeah.
Colby could step in and take that fight. Colby has the opportunity to fight the winner of Bilal and Brady. I think that's what he will do.
I disagree though. I think it's going to be Burns. I think if anything it'd be Burns, but I think
the UFC is going to overlook Colby.
I think what they would. I think Colby first of all wouldn't want that fight. I don't.
Really?
I don't think that fight interests him. I don't. I know.
Does how come? Because Colby, I think the fights that interest him are the ones that he knows he's going to win.
Yes, but he also likes fighting guys who actually have names though.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they could be old, they could be washed. They just have to have. They still have to have names. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't really see him fighting a Sean Brady who like nobody cares about. You know,
Maybe a Leon Edwards if he
you know what I'm
loses.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a Leon Edwards if he loses or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's something that like it's a guy who's a name that would make him look good. You know what I mean?
I
But
wish
yeah,
he just fought Burns, man.
yeah, but like the thing I also thinking about that fight from Kobe's perspective, I understand more why he's sitting out now. Now I understand more. Now that Usman lost to Leon, I think that makes things a lot more interesting for Kobe because we could have a complete new champion. Like, I mean, we do have a new champion, and Leon, if he beats him again, like Usman's out of the equation. So like that gives Colby another chance of running the belt, maybe even without needing to fight Shavkat. No, Chimaev or Shavkat. But
I just don't. I still think there's no way Colby can get a title shot without facing like a really tough guy. And I just, regardless of whether he's fighting Usman, he's gonna have to either fight Burns or Shavkat. Like, I don't think he can get a title shot without or Hamzat. He's got to fight a tough guy. He's not gonna get a title shot off of beating Sean Brady or Bilal Muhammad.
So that's no what way. That's but so what I think is gonna happen is I think Shavkat will beat Neal, and I think they're gonna give Brady Bilal the winner to Shavkat. They're gonna be there. That's the only option they're gonna give those guys. They're gonna be like, okay, if you guys beat this guy, you're gonna get a title shot.
Yeah,
that's the only option they're gonna give him. So I don't think the UFC wants Brady.
But then if Shavkat wins, then he gets the title shot.
I don't think you really. It could be kind of like a Burns situation. I think you can kind of do what they did against Chimaev.
Like, but Chimaev beat Burns and he didn't get a title shot.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think it's all really interesting, but I don't know if you, because I feel like it's still like I still think a win against Colby guarantees you a title. That's the guy. A win over Colby.
I think a win over Colby for anyone does, but Colby getting one win does not guarantee him a title.
No. So that's what I'm thinking, because I feel like for me, the ranking, like I feel like the order is, I feel like there's guys like Brady Bilal for Shavkat at least. So there's Joff Neo, I think there's Brady's Bilal's, and then I think there's Burns's, and then I think there's Colby's. I think that's like the order, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I think I just don't know, because I think that they're gonna for sure feed Brady or Bilal Shavkat. They're going to. They don't want them to win the belt or even fight for the belt.
Hell no. But they're not going to. Like, I don't think they are. I don't think they're going to.
So then Shavkat's going to beat those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right. So yeah, so they're not even going to risk him fighting Burns. They're not going to risk him fighting a Covington. They're going to have him fight a Chimaev, or they'll have, I mean, not a Chimaev. Oh, actually, maybe.
I don't think Chimaev is going to take any fight at 170 that's not a title shot. I don't think he needs to. He's earned a title shot.
So in that case, all right, so not Chimaev. So they're going to feed him Shavkat. I think feeding those guys Burns would be a little bit too risky. I think feeding those guys Covington would be even a little too risky. I think Shavkat, you guarantee those guys losing. And I think that's what the UFC needs. So I think Shavkat will fight Neal. I think he's going to beat Neal. I don't think it's going to be too hard of a fight. I think he's going to finish him in the first 2 rounds for sure. I don't think he's that kind of level. He's not that level. You know, Neal had an impressive win against Luque. He's had an impressive win, so much credit to him for that. But when you take a wrestler like a guy, a specimen like Shavkat, you can't a guy like that can't beat him. He's not talented enough, you know.
No.
Shavkat would be able to take him down quite easily, would be able to submit him really easily. So I think he submits him in the first 2 rounds, and I think he goes on to fight Brady or Bilal, the winner of that fight. I think he wins that fight, and I think he fights for the belt and wins the belt. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but I think at that point, Chimaev will be long gone out of the division though. So I think Chimaev is going to win the bout at 70, and I think he'll move up to 85 right away.
So. I hope so. I really do. I hope Chimaev can actually get a title shot, and I think he's earned one. You know, I think we'll be figuring that out relatively soon. Probably by December we'll know what Chimaev's next fight is. Well, we do have news of some other big fights. We have Volkanovski in Australia, and that will be, I think, in February. So I'm really looking forward to that. Volkanovski, I think it's a great thing for him to be able to defend his belt in his home country.
But you said defend his belt, so you're thinking he's going to stay at 45.
Yeah, so I think that unless Islam and Charles are going to have a quick turnaround, and if it's Charles, I could see it. But here's the thing: if Islam wins, I don't think he's going to fight Volkanovski because Islam is going to want a whole fucking year. I just know it. I know Islam Makhachev's going to want an entire year to take time off and to, do his, usual Ngannou-esque thing. Like, I just see Islam Makhachev being a champion who's going to need a whole fucking year. And he needs to cut a lot of weight. So those weight cuts are brutal. If Oliveira wins, he's going to want to fight on the Brazil card. And I don't blame him. So I think that Volkanovski is going to defend his belt. And I think he's going to fight Yair Rodriguez. I think that's the fight that they're going to make. Or they might, I think they're going to do Yair, unless, Mitchell and Evloev really, really impress, or Cater and, Cater and Allen, unless one of those guys have an amazing performance. I think they won't have issue finding Volk an opponent. I don't think that'll be the issue. I just don't think it'll be for double champ status. So I think that Volkanovski is going to defend his belt. I'm going to pick him to win against anyone. If he fights Yair, he'll take him down and beat him up, and he'll strike with him on the feet too. If he's going to fight anyone else, he's just going to outclass them. He's got more experience. And then Whitaker is probably going to fight Paulo Costa. And listen, I my take on Whitaker is, unless it's Khamzat Chimaev, I don't think Khamzat's going to want to fight Whitaker right now. So I think Whitaker's just going to run through Costa. I mean, who else is he going to fight? There's no one else for Whitaker to fight. I don't see Alex Pereira or Izzy turning around that quickly after a loss to fight Whitaker. So I really think Whitaker and Costa is going to be the matchup. I think it's going to be, I mean, listen, I know people are hyped up on Costa now, but styles make fights, and Costa's not the offensive grappler that he'll need to be to take down Whitaker. He can stuff takedowns for sure. He's a beast. And when it comes to striking, after what I saw against Luke Rockhold, there's no way in hell that he can strike with Robert Whitaker. Robert Whitaker is going to make him look silly on the feet. So I hope he fights. I'm a big Whitaker fan. I hope he fights Costa because that's a good fight for Whitaker. And I think that Whitaker, it's just a matter of time before he gets another title shot. I'd love to see Whitaker become a champion again. So I like these fights. Now, Volkanovski's riskiest fight, in my opinion, is going to be Evloev. I just think it's the matchup. Like, Evloev's a great grappler. He's a tough guy, but man, I don't see anyone beating Volk either. I think it's the same thing at featherweight. I don't think anyone beats him.
Yeah, I don't see Evu. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Evloev. So I don't see him getting a title shot just yet. Even with
I think it'd be more realistic if the winner of Cater and Allen get the title shot.
I think the winner.
Those guys are way more deserving than fucking Yair and Emmett anyway.
Evloev and Kate and Mitchell, they're those are number 9 and 10 in the division.
Yeah, you're right.
So they're a couple fights away. But I think Volk will fight 3 more times, or 3 or 4 more times in that division, or in his UFC career. He's 34 or 35. He's still really great. Obviously, I think he still was getting better before the Holloway fight, but I think a decline could be coming at some point in the next few years.
I think that's why it's good for him to stay at 45 and just destroy these next few guys. Because if he goes and loses at 55, the decline is already here.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think Volk needs to do to become the GOAT? I think in order to become the GOAT of the entire sport.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you think it's possible if he stays at 145, or do you think he needs to go up?
I don't think the competition is going to be respected enough when you're looking at the GOAT discussion. Because you look
Max
at
Holloway, Jose Aldo.
Yeah, but you look at John
stiff
Jones.
competition. But John, here's the thing about Jones. I don't think Jones's competition was that crazy.
Cormier, yeah, he beat
Cormier, but that Cormier is not like the
Cormier's talked about. Cormier's talked about as one of the greatest. He's talked about as one of the greatest,
but Max Holloway is one of the greatest, and Jose Aldo is one of the greatest.
Max Holloway isn't DC. DC was double champ.
Jose Aldo is right up there with DC though. I really think Jose Aldo is in that top 10 all time.
He beat Gustafsson twice. He beat
for sure. But that's the thing. It's like Machida. I mean, these guys, like, here's the thing about Jones.
Machida's better than Josh Emmett or like Brian Ortega. You know what I mean? Like, he's better than Brian Ortega. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, he is, but he's not better than
Jackson. He beat Chael, which was whatever. But
for sure, he has good wins. But here's the thing: like, those guys are good in their eras. Brian Ortega is still he's still a beast. Jose Aldo, Max Holloway. You're right. He needs more names. I don't think he'll surpass John Jones, but if he continues to win, I mean, imagine what does Volkanovski's resume look like if he beats, Cater or like, these are tough guys. Think about the guys that Jones beat. Jones beat Machida. That's a champion. He beat Shogun. That's a champion. But Gustafsson was never champ. DC was never champ when Jones beat him.
But Jones used to beat everybody. Like, there was nobody like.
But Volk is doing that.
Like, I just feel like
Volk is doing that right now.
He is, but when we're looking at divisions, let me ask, like, featherweight division right now, is that a strong division right now? It's not.
But here's the thing.
It's not like a
but Volk beat Max Holloway 3 times and Jose Aldo. That's crazy.
That's impressive. That's
better than beating DC twice. And one of them he didn't even get credit for it because he was on gear.
He beat Glover, who's the champion right now.
For sure, that's a great win.
He beat Vitor Belfort, Rashad Evans, who was a beast. Rampage.
No, I'm not saying I'm saying right now Jones is just easily over Volk. I'm saying Volk could pass him.
So what can Volk do to get to there? Okay,
so fine. I think he needs. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I think he needs 4 more.
Okay,
I think he needs 4 more.
It's a steroid thing that'll knock Jones.
It's the steroid thing that'll knock Jones. Listen, without steroids, Jones is the GOAT. I think he is. But I really think that if Volkanovski can win, if Volkanovski wins one more, I think Volk is already the featherweight GOAT. But to solidify featherweight GOAT
anybody status, who doesn't say that, or just I don't know.
Okay, well then I'll say Volk is the featherweight GOAT. But to really put a stamp on it, I think he needs one more defense, and then to become the GOAT, I think he needs 4 more wins to become the GOAT. Period.
GOAT. Period.
Because I think if you look at his resume, then undefeated in the UFC. Never lost, like his only loss is at 185 pounds. And then you have to look at like the names. He beat the featherweight GOAT at the time, Jose Aldo. He beat the second best featherweight of all time, who beat the featherweight GOAT twice, Max Holloway. And he beat that guy 3 times. And then he beat a bunch of tough contenders, like really tough contenders.
Yeah. But I think.
And it's also the modern era. So like the guys that Volk is fighting, the skill level, these guys are good. For sure, John Jones has beat guys that were the shit back in the day, and he was still beating guys that were good, that are still good. But I think you don't necessarily have to match them win for win
because of the steroids. That's why you don't with John Jones, because of the steroids. Because if there was no steroids involved, it wouldn't be an argument no matter what. But because
but the thing is, I mean, I don't know though. I mean. For sure. How many title defenses does John Jones have? Like 12? How many title wins? 13? I think he has like 12 or 13.
John Jones record. I'm pulling it up right now. But I think
he's also lost to Dominic Reyes, in my opinion. I mean, but
people could say that Volk lost to Holloway in the second.
Sure, for sure. But I think the one against Dom was even more clear, and Volk winning against Holloway in the second fight was more clear of a win than Jones winning against Reyes. And also Jones's knockout. Here's the thing about his knockout over Cormier. The very next day he was suspended and banned. So like, that's the issue with a thing like that, is that knockout is one of the greatest knockouts ever, but it was completely ruined by the fact that he was like suspended the next day. And you know, Cormier was exposed for having like insanely high, suspiciously high testosterone levels.
Oh, I did see that.
That's weird too. That's very weird.
He was on some stuff. I think. Oh no, it was very low testosterone.
No, this was extremely high testosterone.
Was it high or?
Yeah, like 7,000 high, like
Oh,
really high.
I thought it was really low, but
No, they found his blood work from when he was about to fight John Jones the second time.
so he may have been sauced out also.
Yeah.
Damn.
But
Yeah.
listen, I think you're right. I think maybe Volk. But the thing is, though, what if Volk wins 6 more?
It's the steroid, but could he fight 6 more times?
That's the thing. He's old, but he's a young Volk is a young 34.
He's a guy who
started late. Like he's like he could be like Yoel Romero.
Yeah. So all right. So let's look at this. All right. So for Volk to be the GOAT.
Let's see. Let's go by each guy. What do you think Volk needs to do to surpass like an Anderson Silva or a Mighty Mouse? I think he needs like maybe 3 more.
Those guys were so good too, though.
I know, but Volk is the best right now out of anyone.
Yeah. I think for a Mighty Mouse and a Silva, I think you need 4 more.
And then GSP 5.
5 more, yeah.
And then Jones 6. Like
honestly
7.
Yeah, probably
6. I mean, listen, that's a far cry. Like 6 fights. That's like 3 years, maybe.
I mean, for Volk, it could be 3. It could be 2 years though, because of how.
I hope so. That's the thing. Volk. That's one of the things I like about Volk. He stays active. I don't see anyone beating him. So I think Volk has GOAT potential. Let me just say that.
But
the way he's looking, if he starts to age, of course not. But if he can keep this up, no one's beating him.
Yeah, and I think the thing about it is that the argument though it will always be is that this featherweight division, like when we're looking at divisions right now, that's not the stacked division. You know what I mean? That's one of the.
But it was though. It like he beat Holloway. That's like beating Kamaru Usman. That's like beating some guy coming in to 185 and beating Izzy 3 times.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like John Jones beating Cormier 3 times. Like it's just. Yeah, and them all counting like cleanly, and one of them he just completely outclasses him, and 2 of them he outclassed Holloway twice, the first time and then the third time. So I mean just skill level too. I mean for sure Jones is up there. I think my top 2 right now are Jones and GSP. Now the steroids make it obviously strange. But
I still have Jones as the GOAT though. I think
I think that's fine. I think that's a good like you have a great argument for that.
I think when I'm looking at GSP, he had the Hendricks fight that he lost. He lost that fight. Like it was kind of like a Reyes.
But that's like it was like a Reyes Jones fight.
I feel like all these guys had that though. Like a Holloway had like.
But the thing is, Holloway's one was not as clear. Like I think he really lost that. I could see you giving it to him, but that's a very close. Like there's no robbery there. The Reyes fight, that's a robbery. Like the Jones.
So was Johnny Hendricks.
That's you could call it a robbery, but I can't call the Max Holloway Volk 2 thing a robbery.
Yeah, but so you look at GSP, he's got Johnny Hendricks, Diaz, Condit. So he's got, let's see how many title wins he's got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh no,
and then he went up to middleweight to win.
Yeah, I counted that one. So he's had 12 title wins, but he had a loss. He got finished twice though.
But he avenged those, and one of them was a big fluke. I like if he avenges them, I think that's good.
Yeah, so
but I could still see Jones like being the GOAT, but he's on gear.
Volk, Volk has 4 title defenses.
Volk has 4 title defenses, true, but you have to look at those wins though. Like his wins are amazing so far. Aldo, this is Aldo before Aldo went to bantamweight and did great things at bantamweight too. This was Aldo that people say washed, but like he gave Piotr Jan a tough fight. He won good fights. He won against Chito Vera. He beat Rob. Like he's beating guys still. He's still a great fighter. And then, he beat Holloway 3 times. Holloway in his prime. This was not a washed Holloway. This is a prime Holloway. He put Holloway out of his prime.
Yeah.
Like, but this is Holloway that, Holloway beat Calvin Kattar, one of the most one-sided fights we've ever seen. He destroyed that Holloway.
But what about the Korean Zombie fight? Like he had no business being in there. wins.
No, that's like a title. That's like, for example, that's the equivalent of a Anthony Smith title defense. That's still a title defense. You know,
okay.
Anthony Smith shouldn't have been in there with Jones. He got destroyed.
I mean, Volk did beat Chad Mendes, which is very impressive.
Chad Mendes is a great win as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think he's there yet. I don't think he's there yet, but he doesn't have to do a lot to get into the top. I think once he beats, for example, if he wins 2 more, I think he's top 5 all time.
Yeah, I would.
But sure. then he's got some work to do for sure to surpass the best guys of all time. For sure, he's got work to do.
We were talking about it before. We thought for him to get it to be the GOAT, that he would have to win at 55 too.
Oh yeah. So for example, if he wins at 55, I think that counts as like 4 title defenses.
But GSP won at 85.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's big. That helps GSP a lot.
GSP already had 11 title wins though at that point.
For sure, but exactly. But the thing is, he beat Michael Bisping.
Yeah.
But still, if Volk wins the belt at 55, then if he defends that shit a few times, he's the GOAT, bro.
Without a doubt. But that's what I was thinking about also. What if John Jones wins at heavyweight?
Oh, if John Jones wins at heavyweight, yeah, for sure he's the GOAT.
That changes all that steroid stuff.
Yeah,
that goes out the window if he wins at heavyweight.
I think so too, for sure. I mean, we're also for sure if Jones comes back, but I'm like the reason why I'm not really thinking about that is because he hasn't come back yet, and I'm starting to lose hope. I think he will. I think he will, but I hope he doesn't. I hope he isn't past his prime.
Yeah, I don't know. But in terms of Volk, I would say about 6. I would say 5. I would say about 5 dominant wins. And,
without moving up. If he just stays. Yeah, I think so too.
Because like he's clean.
Because that would be clean, and his wins are amazing too.
He's never lost in the UFC. Yeah. I think that's a big factor. All those other guys. I mean, Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse did lose. Yeah,
but he's undefeated at featherweight. Like he lost at middleweight. That's crazy. He's basically undefeated.
That wasn't in the UFC. So
yeah, it wasn't in the UFC.
That's a huge factor to it also, and that he's clean. So I would say about 5 more wins, and he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think in terms to pass the guy like Silva, or a Mighty Mouse, or a GSP, I think Mighty Mouse. Thing about Mighty Mouse is the division was shit. That division was not good.
But yeah, you're right. You still have to give him credit for I think he's still top. I think he's number 5. Just right because of all those titles.
I think he's 3 or 4 right now. But the division was still not good, so I don't think it'd be too hard for Volk to pass him. So I think Mighty Mouse. I think he needs 2 more wins to get past Mighty Mouse.
But what about Mighty Mouse? His wins in 1 championship. Do those count?
Nah, not really. You think they count?
I mean, they have to mean something. But like 1 championship's the second best thing. But you're right.
Yeah. But
I mean, I think it keeps him there. Silva's up there because his title reign was insane.
Silva lost many times in the UFC.
For sure, but that was he stuck around. He fought Uriah Hall when he should have never fought him. The Izzy fight wasn't a bad loss. He lost to Cormier, but that was on short notice.
That fight was like.
But the thing is, he was fighting really past his prime. You know.
Yeah. So, but I think Volk, the fact that he's never lost in the UFC, and he just got a few more title defenses. I think that would make him go in front of those guys.
I think it makes him go in front of. I think he really just needs to work to get in front of GSP and Jones.
You mean?
I think 3 more wins and he's ahead of Silva.
Yeah, I think 2 more wins, 2, 3 more. Yeah,
2 or 3. 2
or 3 more.
He needs at least 4 more to surpass GSP.
He's got a flawless resume. Like think of it. Like that's why Khabib is so high to people. It's because his resume is flawless. Volk has that flawless resume. So he doesn't need to have these crazy amount of title defenses.
Yeah.
But to pass a John Jones, or a GSP, I think that makes it like a little harder. But I would say to pass like a Silva or a Mighty Mouse, I think he needs 2 to 3 more.
Mm-hmm.
So and then he'll pass those guys. But I mean, I think Volk could do it. It's just like I thought he was gonna go to 55, but back to the London the Australia card, like this kind of assures that he's going to be fighting at 45, because I would assume that they're going to use Oliveira if he beats Islam to fight on the Brazil card. That's what I thought. That's what I've always thought. And so that would kind of mean that like Charles is not going to fight in Australia for a title defense.
No,
he defended his belt in
they'll need him in Brazil. There's no way.
Yes, Phoenix. He already did Justin Gaethje's territory, and he went to Islam Makhachev's territory. He's not going to another opponent territory. He's not.
Yeah.
So I think if he wins the bout, he'll fight in Brazil. He'll turn it around. I think because he's going to win in the first round, I think he'll be able to turn it around kind of quickly and fight in January. But it'll be interesting to see who he fights. But you also said Paulo Costa against Whitaker. That's another guy who I thought they'd want is in for the Brazil card, because like he's now that Aldo's out of the UFC, like there's not that many big names in Brazil anymore. So I thought they would have like a Figueiredo. He's ready on it. I thought they would have a Costa, Oliveira, Burns, but
I hope they put Burns on there. That'd be a good substitution for Costa.
So you don't think they would put Costa on it? So you think they would just have him fight in Australia?
I think who else is Whitaker gonna fight?
Yeah. So he's got to fight.
He just beat Marvin. Marvin's top 4 ranked guys.
So he's got to fight Costa.
Yeah.
That's the only fight that makes sense.
I mean, there's literally no one else.
Yeah, I think it's
unless he goes way down the rankings, but it's Robert Whitaker. He's the number 1 contender.
Yeah. I think it's weird that the cards are back to back. I think it's a little weird.
That's also strange, yeah.
Because it makes it weird for a guy like Volk and a guy like Whitaker, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
but I don't mind it because like 2 big cards, you know.
I think those are going to be huge cards. I think those are going to be great cards. I just think like both those guys.
Maybe Izzy fights on the Australia card too. I mean, I could see that. Israel Adesanya, Hamza Chimaev. Maybe. That'd be huge.
Maybe.
Dude, how big would that be? Izzy, Hamza Chimaev, main event, Volk, co-main event, and then Whitaker, and that'd be just as stacked as UFC 280. Well, not as amazing because Charles and Oliveira is a great fight, but it's pretty much just as stacked.
Yeah. I hope. Yeah, I think those are gonna be real. In the Brazil card, I mean, Figueiredo.
Those will be good cards.
Was booked to for it. I don't care to see that fight.
UFC 82 December is really stacked. You're gonna have Pimblett's gonna fight on there.
Pimblett.
Yeah, Darren Till.
Bo Nickel's on it.
Bo Nickel, Darren Till, John Jones, maybe.
Prohaska.
Fuck, I don't think John Jones is not fighting on there. There's no way. We would know by now.
These cards are getting a lot better.
Yeah, they are. The end of the year, the UFC always puts on sick cards.
No, but even the beginning of next year, like
this will
Brazil
great cards. Think about it. Darren Till, like Pimblett, like these are big fights on the December card. And we also have who else? Oh, Poirier's on the November card.
Yeah. You want to make our dream Brazil card and Australia card.
Yeah, let's do my dream Australia card would be I'll say Izzy fighting, but Izzy, I don't want him to win the belt. So okay, here's my dream.
I think it has to be Volk as the main. Then
Volkanovski defending his belt against I would say Cater or Arnold, whoever wins. Then I would say in the co-main event, Whitaker versus Paulo Costa, or Whitaker Izzy 2, because maybe Izzy loses and he fights Whitaker again.
Ooh,
he doesn't want to fight. That'd be cool. Or then I would say Kai Kara France fighting someone else, one of these other guys.
Yeah.
Then I would say who else would I want on that card? Tai Tuivasa, for sure, put him on that card as well. Tai Tuivasa versus
Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall. I don't think Tom's going to be ready by then, but that would be amazing if he could be ready. And then the Brazil card, I would say Charles Oliveira versus, this is interesting, Mateus Gamrot.
Or Chandler. If Chandler beats
Charles Oliveira. I don't think, if Chandler wins, for sure. Charles Oliveira versus Chandler 2, or Charles Oliveira, because if Poirier wins, they're not going to give him a title shot. Or Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot, I guess.
You think he get a title shot after beating Dariush? I don't know.
I mean, who else is going to get it? Fiziev? No. That's the thing. Like, who else? Like he earned it the most. He's gonna have to fight someone. Connor. Yeah. Okay, that'd be good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would say, oh yeah, for sure. Connor would love that. I hope, but he would get smoked.
That'd be a huge fight.
Yeah. And then I would say co-main event, Alex Pereira.
I mean, it already is. They already had the co-main.
Oh, co-main event? No, not anymore. Co-main event, Alex Pereira versus someone else. And then the feature fight would be Figgy and Moreno.
Okay.
Alex Pereira, if he wins, he defends his belt in Brazil.
What about Burns?
Oh, well, then Burns is on the main card too versus Colby.
Colby. Colby's making his return back to Brazil.
That would be amazing. that would be the best card.
After Damian Maia. For me, I think the same thing. I think Connor versus Oliveira as the main event would be so sick.
Yeah.
Pereira against someone. But
Pereira, fuck it, throw in Strickland again.
Yeah, Strickland, let's do it. No, but I don't know if Pereira would turn around that quickly because it would be November to but
if he does,
he may not take damage. Who knows? You know.
But that's in February. He might. I mean,
no, Brazil's in January.
Oh, the Brazil's. Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know if he would be on it. So I'm gonna say co-main. It's gonna be Figgy against Moreno for. We don't care.
And then Burns.
But I want to see. You know what I want to see? Burns Masvidal.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
As the third fight, and then maybe Jailton Almeida making his debut on
in the rankings
card would be really cool. I'm trying to think of what other Brazilian fighters.
You could have one of Charles Oliveira's teammates on there. This guy that got a win last weekend came back.
Someone like that. And in terms of Australia, Volk against Yair on the main event. I think that's the most entertaining fight for Volk at the moment. I mean, Josh Emmett, nobody cares about. I think Allen would be entertaining, but I still think Yair would be a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, he's got that head, all those head kicks.
Yeah, he's got his style of fighting is a little bit more intriguing. So I would say that having that on the
main event,
co-main Whitaker versus Costa. Third fight, I'm gonna say Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen.
Well, okay, that'd be a great fight.
Yes, I'm gonna say Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. And the fourth fight, I'm gonna say Tai Tuivasa versus Sergey Pavlovich.
That'd be a sick fight too.
I feel like Arnold Allen, if he wins, I think they're gonna put him against Holloway. I think they're gonna.
I would love that, but I also think that Allen would lose that one. To be honest,
you think so?
Actually, I don't know, man. After the beatdown from Volk, I'd pick Allen. But I could just see what if it's a 5-rounder and Max Holloway just comes? I could see it kind of being like a Cater Holloway, where Allen maybe he has a good round or two, but then Holloway just drowns him.
I feel like you underrate Allen. He's
good, but I don't know if he's gonna have a gas tank. He's very explosive.
We'll see in this Cater fight, but
I'd love to see him. I still think he has a good chance to beat Cater. I'm gonna pick Cater. I have a pick that I changed, by the way. I picked Wonder Boy to beat Kevin Holland. I'm gonna take it back. I think that I was watching Luke and Wonder Boy again, and I think that I think Kevin Holland's a Ranger guy. He's faster. He hits very hard like Luke, but he can pick you apart at range, and he's got a weird style. I think he's gonna beat, and I think he's gonna knock out Wonder Boy.
Yeah,
I think Wonder Boy, if he was in his prime, it might be a different fight, but still, he's not. Kevin Holland's so long and rangy, and he hits really hard, and he doesn't have he doesn't have a fundamental rhythm. He's very unorthodox.
Yeah.
So I think that'll present Wonder Boy some problems.
Yeah,
think he's
I have Holland also. I have Holland in the first 3 rounds. This is an old Wonder Boy, guys. Like, people need to remember that. It's like when they're picking Dillashaw to beat Aljo. This is an old Wonder Boy. His chin, he's taken so much damage over the years, like so much damage. Holland's in his prime. The dude is 29 years old. Like you said, he has a very fight style that you can't train for. You can't. It's so unorthodox. Like, he could throw.
Imagine if Wonder Boy takes him down and submits him. That'd be so sad.
Both these guys. I think Holland has the advantage there. I would say
both for sure. I'm just saying that'd be funny because he just decided to quit after Chimaev.
Oh, because of Chimaev, yeah. No, but I think Wonder Boy is the better striker overall. I would say the more technical striker, but I think Holland has some power. And for 70,
he can hit you from far away too.
Yeah, his reach is very long. I think his power is scary for number 170. And I think Wonder Boy is too old. And I think at some point now, especially since it's a 5-rounder, he's gonna get clipped at some point. I think he's gonna get knocked out. I think Wonder Boy, that Holland will win. So, but
I could also see Wonder Boy winning. There's a chance. I don't think it's so. I think the smart pick would be Holland for sure.
How would you think Wonder Boy would win? Like,
how do you think the fight? I think Wonder Boy could win if he doesn't get clipped. Like, if he doesn't get dropped and hurt with a big shot, I think he could win. I think Wonder Boy will have, like, for example, I think Wonder Boy will have more success with the volume. I think Wonder Boy will be able to outpoint Holland. I just think that Holland will be able to get those big moments.
I think he's gonna have a couple big moments, honestly.
I think he's gonna have the big moments, and I think he's gonna knock out Wonder Boy.
Yeah, I think the 5-rounder really helps Holland.
I think it does too. It gives him more opportunity.
Yeah, and I think as the fight goes on, there's more opportunities to clip him. But I think that the whole Holland retirement thing, that was so interesting, and it was all planned from the beginning. We all knew it. Sure. But then he said the day before the fight was announced, he's like, "Guys, I'm actually retiring. Like, this is for real."
The fight was already signed.
My theory was that, like, honestly, he was trying to get that fight from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then the day before, I think they were like about to negotiate, that they're having a little bit disputes. Maybe they're like, he was maybe asking for more money, and the UFC was like, I don't want to give you that money. So he's like, oh, I'm actually retiring for good now. Then they're like, okay, fine, we'll give you that money. You know how Dana.
I think he was trolling. I think that they had made the fight already. I think it was signed. I think he was just fucking with people.
Because I remember that fight was rumored to be at 279. Before Rodriguez. So that fight must have been talked about for a while.
They need to give Li Jingliang some justice, because they definitely, Kevin Holland stepped in, fought Khamzat Chimaev when he didn't need to, and he's getting rewarded for it. They need to reward Li Jingliang, because
they also rewarded
ranked anymore.
D-Rod's fighting Neil Magny.
No, that fight's done. That fight's off.
What happened?
Neil Magny or D-Rod, they're out with an injury. So this next week's card's even worse.
Jeez. All right. Yeah. We'll talk about this whole nonsense in a second. But Holland, Wonder Boy. That I'm real excited for that fight, though. It's in Orlando. I don't know if UFC's ever been to Orlando, so that'll be real interesting. Maybe I'll go.
They've been to Orlando. Yeah, that's where Usman knocked out Masvidal.
No, that was in Jacksonville.
Oh, well, they went to Orlando when Petr Yan fought Aljo in the second fight. Volkanovski, Korean Zombie, Khamzat, and Burns.
No, that was also Jacksonville.
I'm pretty sure that was Orlando.
No, I'm telling you, it was Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
They do Jacksonville once a year.
Okay, fair enough.
But so Orlando would be really interesting. Maybe I'll go. Who knows? Not too far from me. But I'm excited. It'll be interesting to see who else is on the card. But Strickland is still fighting Cannonier, right?
Yeah.
Just later on. Okay. All right. So we got some good fights. Honestly, I'm real excited. I
don't even care about the fact that next week sucks. I mean,
next week,
if I have time, I might watch some of them, but we still have some great fights coming up.
Luke. Oh, yeah. No. Wow. We actually, I just want to look at this for a second. Wow. Oh, so we have, okay, nobody cares about Grasso, whatever. We have 280, and then we have Cater versus Allen.
Huge fight.
And we have Mitchell versus Evloev.
Amazing fight.
281, Adesanya Pereira, which is so entertaining. Then we have Lewis versus Spivak. Lewis is always kind of pretty entertaining, you know. Then we have Thompson versus Holland. Then Cannonier versus Strickland to end the year. Oh, baby.
And then UFC 282.
Let's go. Oh, yeah. UFC 280. Wow. Damn, I'm excited. I don't like we talked about.
We have no more women's main events, bro.
Let's go.
Thank God.
Honestly, like, are you more happy that it happened this way? That we had these two.
Honestly, I think it's good. I think it's even better that this card upcoming this week sucks because can you imagine next week? Like not this week, but the week after UFC 280. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm so nervous. Like,
wait, doesn't that mean that the main card is in Arizona? Oh, you'll be in Florida.
For UFC 280.
UFC 280.
Yeah, I'm going home for that. I need to.
Dude, the prelims, yeah, because it'd be funny because like you'd start watching the prelims like 10 a.m. Honestly,
imagine.
I can't wait. I'm gonna spend the whole day here chilling. It'll be so dope.
Maybe I'll go to the movie theater and watch it, honestly. But I don't want to be I don't want people to see me crying if Charles loses.
If Charles loses, I'm gonna be pissed.
No, people are gonna like. The thing that's kind of interesting to me is that people like think that we're gonna like they want us like apologize if Charles loses.
Yeah, they want us to be like, sorry guys, I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah, they want us like give like a full apology.
I'm gonna get over it within a day. Yeah, like it's all good.
Like you see all over Makachev, like Charles videos, like everyone's like, we're coming back here at
I want to see your faces.
I want to see your guys' faces, but like we're
honestly if Islam wins, I'm gonna get on my TikTok like nothing happens. I'll just say Islam Makhachev just beat Charles Oliveira, but it's like I'm just gonna do my normal thing.
Yeah, I'll be like, good job, Islam. Like that was
good. I guess Islam had a great win here. Yeah, I'll never acknowledge it again.
Oh yeah, no.
Honestly, if Islam wins, I'll literally like that'll suck.
I would just be like, we were wrong.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, nothing more to it. You know, we're not the fighters. We're not like, it's not up to us. So like, you know, but you know what we should do? Let us know if you guys would be down for us to go YouTube live for UFC 280 so that you could see our faces for the main event, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Comment down below, like what you guys think.
That'd be interesting.
Because I think that could be fun. But yeah, no, I mean, I think these fights, these coming weeks, I'm super excited. And it seems like there's not a single fight night or like pay-per-view that I'm not excited for. And that's just such a great feeling after these crappy couple of weeks. And it did build up like excitement though. So I'm excited. But in terms of this week, are you going to be watching, Lucas?
I might. I'm not going to watch the main event. There's no way I would watch the main event. Just like the last card, I watched a few of the fights. I didn't watch the main event. I mean, I'll look at the card again, but I probably won't watch. If I'm doing something, I'll do something else. But I mean, yeah. So
Cub Swanson's fighting. I thought that guy was like 60.
Yeah, I'm not tuning in for Cub Swanson, bro.
You got Askarov, Brandon Royval.
I'm not that dude's ranked, but I'm still not tuning in for him.
That's a decent fight. Brandon Royval. That's a decent fight.
Oh, that's actually a good fight.
That's a good fight. Yeah, that's a good fight.
See, like if I have time, I'll like if I'm not doing anything else, I'll watch it.
Yeah, like.
But I won't watch the main event.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't know these girls. I'm sorry.
I would never watch that. Like, why would I watch that? I could just go
on YouTube. The other week, Mackenzie Dern. At least people like know her. At least she's like one of the bigger women names.
Yeah.
Rosso has no business being on a main event.
No.
Or main card for that matter. She's got no business. I've never heard of her before this fight was booked. Never.
I've heard of her, but like she's
whatever.
Who's she fighting again?
She's fighting Vivian Arujo.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, why? There's no business being that. Do you think Dana White is paying them like they do for the other? No, right? You don't think so?
No, they're getting the main event doesn't get like that much. There's not like a base pay for the main. They get whatever money they would normally get.
Okay, so but
for sure they'll get a little bit of a raise because they're in the main event, but
do you think they would get more than a Strickland versus Cannonier for their main event?
Oh, definitely not.
Okay, all right. I just want to
definitely not. There's no way.
All right, good. That's how it should be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that. But no, this card this weekend, it's horrible. It's just like I don't know. I mean,
I'm happy about it because that all I care about now is UFC 280 and it seems closer.
and then we also coming up, we got Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. Then the week after, which is also very exciting. I actually have a new theory for that fight. And I think that Jake Paul will 100% knock out Anderson Silva. 100% in the first 5 rounds. I'm guaranteeing it right now. I'm guaranteeing it that Jake Paul is going to knock out Anderson Silva. Right now, on record. Yeah.
You think he's improved a lot?
What I think is I've been watching a lot of Jake Paul content, I'm going to be honest. And this is the thing. This is what his team is seeing. His team is seeing that Anderson Silva is 47 years old. His chin isn't the same anymore. The other thing they're seeing is that Anderson Silva's boxing style, he keeps his hands down a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that Jake's team knows that he's going to capitalize at some point with a big shot. And that he's not going to be able to handle it because his hands are down a lot and he's old. So I think at some point, Anderson could be beating him up. I think that right hand, left hand, whatever it is, it's going to come at some point. And I think Jake Paul will knock him out. You want to know something? I think I'm going to that fight. I think I'm going to the fight.
You're going to go, where is it?
Yeah, it's in Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix.
I think I'm going to go to the fight. I think I'm going to go. And I'm going to see Jake Paul knock out Anderson Silva in person, which is going to be
crazy. Isn't that on the same day?
No, it's a week later.
Oh, so that's on the same day as Cater? And
yes, it's on the same day as Cater versus
You're gonna wait, is it a different time though? If it's bro, I would not miss Cater for that one.
It's a little earlier. It's earlier.
I mean, honestly, here's the thing. I think it'd be cool for you to go. I honestly like watching like on screen. I think it's better to watch the fights on screen. Like the view is so much better.
Yeah, but Jake Paul Anderson, this is like a crazy, it's a big fight.
But you're gonna have to watch like the other boxing fights if you go.
Yeah, that's gonna suck. But actually, Uriah Hall is Le'Veon Bell. And then there's guy Dr. Mike, this influencer. So he's making it a little bit entertaining, but still, no. I mean, the Cater fight is earlier. It's a little earlier. It's not a late one. Jake Paul is gonna get on at like 12 p.m. Like 12
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be able to watch it. But yeah, I'm really considering going. But yeah, no, I think Anderson Silva is gonna get knocked down. I also think the thing is about Jake Paul, I think he's could beat any of these UFC guys. Like I don't think anybody in MMA could beat Jake Paul in boxing who are a similar size. Like he's a boxer. I think he is a boxer. He's not a great boxer, but he's a boxer.
You think he'd beat Izzy? Or Prohea?
Those are the two guys.
Or I don't even think he'd beat Whitaker, bro. I think he gets smashed.
Maybe not. I think he does beat Whitaker. Because I think
I don't think he could beat Whitaker, bro.
Jake Paul's a box. These guys aren't box. It's so much different. It's different. That's what I think. I think
that's true, but like the thing is, Israel Adesanya got outboxed by Whitaker, bro. And Israel Adesanya is a kickboxing. Kickboxers have hands.
Kickboxing and boxing is different.
For sure.
I still think
Adesanya would beat Jake Paul in a
I think Adesanya and Pereira. Those are the two guys who are a similar weight. But I think he hurts everybody. I think he seriously can. I think he can really hurt guys. Like UFC fighters going into the ring with Jake Paul, they can get seriously hurt. That's what I think. Because I think
the average UFC fighter are like Marvin Vettori
or an older fighter. Like, you know what I mean? Like a Nate Diaz. If Nate Diaz gets in the ring with Jake Paul,
for sure, I'd pick Jake Paul.
He's gonna get seriously hurt, Nate Diaz. Yeah. He's going to get seriously hurt. I think Anderson Silva is going to get seriously hurt. That's what I think about Jake Paul. And Jake Paul it's even money. So if you guys want to make a bet Jake Paul. I already have a couple hundred on him. I'm gonna put more on him. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to knock him out.
What betting website do you use?
I use DraftKings.
Have you ever gotten your money back? Like, have you ever?
You're not going to get your money. What do you mean?
Like, for example, if you bet like a few $100 and you make let's say you make 500 at the end, Are you allowed to just take
Yeah,
it?
yeah. There's like certain like things you have to go through, but yeah, you could. But
Okay,
yeah,
because I'm into betting as long as I could get my money and leave.
yeah. There's certain places like that are like easier to get it, like wire money out. I like mybookie.ag is pretty good. Um, yeah. No, last Jake Paul fight, I had grand on Jake Paul against Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
The second one he won. Obviously, I'm not. I don't know if I'm gonna put that much. I'm not a huge better. I have 200 on Jake right now. Maybe I'll put another 200. We'll see. But yeah. Do you have any? Is your prediction the same for that fight? Like, do you still think Anderson Silva's gonna win?
Honestly, I think yeah, I might pick Jake Paul.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, listen, if Anderson Silva comes out like looking really good, like he used to look, I think a prime Anderson Silva beats Jake Paul.
Oh yeah. I would
But I don't think this. Yeah, I think Jake Paul is probably going to knock him out. If he finds a punch, he's going to knock him out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It was interesting that
It's been a year also. That's why I'm saying it, because he definitely has improved since his last fight with Woodley.
sure did, because in that stage of your career, like
you're still rapidly improving.
Yeah. So I think yeah, with Jake Paul, I think he's gonna beat Anderson Silva. I think he's gonna knock him out. But I think where you go from there is what's interesting, because like I'm sure he wants to fight these boxers. They just don't have big names, you know, like they don't. He's saying he wants to fight Canelo in 18 months. And Jake Paul is confident he could beat him.
I don't think Jake Paul would ever beat Canelo.
Listen to this though. Jake Paul is way bigger than Canelo.
Bro, he's not skilled enough to beat him.
He's not, but 18 months from now, Canelo's getting older. Jake Paul,
there's no way, man.
I don't know.
There's no way. Canelo's that's okay. That's like saying, for example, if Jake Paul was in MMA and he was like maybe beating, that's like saying he would beat Alexander Volkanovski or like Charles Oliveira.
He's way bigger though.
Okay, but for example, that's like okay, that's like a guy getting into MMA. And let's say at 185, let's say he beats Chael Sonnen. All right. And then he beats who's another guy that let's say he beats Chris Weidman, you know, he just knocked out Chris Weidman twice. Chris Weidman, like, and now he's gonna fight Michael Bisping, the previous champion. Oh, and he beats Michael, and now he's gonna. You think you can predict him to beat Izzy based on a win over Mike Bisping?
It's different weight classes though. Like I think, look, I think Canelo would still beat Jake, but I don't think it's as.
But like, still, would you pick him to then beat Kamaru if some guy beat Michael Bisping, or let's say if some guy beats, let's say if some guy beats Anderson Silva in MMA, the Anderson Silva of now in MMA. And then he thinks he's going to challenge Kamaru Usman. I don't.
It wouldn't be Usman. It would be Charles.
But Canelo has fought at welterweight. He's fought at heavier than Usman.
That was not his. That wasn't his natural weight class, and he lost in that division weight class because he was too small. So that's.
I just think Canelo is so much better, bro.
I think Canelo would win, but I don't think it's as.
Like guys have been able to, if the skill discrepancy is massive, the smaller guy's gonna win in a boxing match, because it's still speed and boxing. Like there's no grappling.
That goes all rounds though. He's not knocking out Jake, I don't think. I think it's a closer fight than people think, because what if Jake Paul clips him? What if Jake Paul clips him?
I don't see that. I don't think he touches Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, a few years from now, Canelo getting older, I don't know. I still think Canelo would win, but I think that would be a lot closer than people think, just because of how much bigger Jake is.
I mean, a few years from now, like if we're talking 3 years, 4 years, maybe.
I think 2 years.
But if you're talking like this year, next year, there's no fucking chance.
What about 2 years? What about 2 years?
No, I don't. I think 3, maybe 4, bro. That's the same thing as me saying, like, you know, that's like me saying Volkanovski is going to get dominated by some guy who just beat like a retired featherweight. How could I make that prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he beat him, but I think it'd be a lot closer than people would think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it'd be like a blowout. You know, I think Jake would go 12 rounds with him without getting knocked out. Also, apparently Jake is beating world champions in sparring. Like apparently,
but boxing has 100 million world champions.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. No, but I think, well, regardless, I mean, look, I think Jake Paul has got a lot better.
I think so too, but here's another thing. Like boxers, like Canelo hits hard, bro. Like he's not a small guy. Sure, he might be short. He might not be like a natural shredded 170, but the dude is a boxer throughout his whole life. Like that in and of itself, the guy's gonna hit hard. Also, he's a thick, like he's like a stocky guy. He could knock out anyone on this planet who's naturally weighing 200 pounds. Like he could Canelo could knock out anyone who weighs around 200. Could he knock out Francis Ngannou? Maybe not. I mean, it's for sure he could if Francis just didn't do anything. But in a fight, could he knock out Francis? No. But could he knock out, like, for example, a Robert Whittaker? I think so.
Yeah, but those guys are MMA guys. Jake's a boxer.
That's the thing, of course. But my point is, like, Jake is not the same level boxer. Who is Jake beat?
He's not going to be the same. He's not going to be skill for skill with Canelo. It would be the size.
Okay, I understand that, but still, I can't say he could do it if he hasn't beat anyone who's actually good in boxing.
No, but
if he can get a couple more wins that are good, for sure, I could say it'll be close.
What if Jake is beating guys who are 190 in his weight class? Like, what if he's beating guys in his weight class?
If he's beating legitimate guys that are actually like good guys, then for sure.
And I don't know if he would beat him, but I think he would be a lot closer than people think.
What if they fought now?
Oh, Canelo would smoke him.
So that's the thing. Like, I just don't. I couldn't make that prediction. I don't know how good Jake Paul is going to be.
Yeah, we need to see. But
I think Jake Paul could in a few years for sure, because he's big and he'll have much better skills. Yeah,
Canelo will be older. Yeah, but I think Canelo. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know if he can knock out Jake though. That's the thing. And Jake has tons of power. I think for his weight class, even against top guys, I think his power is up there. You know, I mean, I think he's gifted with power, and if he lands on Canelo, like.
I just remember Anthony Smith saying he could beat Jake Paul in a boxing fight.
Anthony Smith could beat Jake Paul in a boxing fight.
He said he could beat him, bro. I just couldn't believe that.
There's no way.
There's no way, dude. Anthony Smith.
Jake Paul would knock him out in the first few rounds.
100%.
Easily. Yeah, no, easily. But in terms of Anderson Silva, yeah, I just had this realization the other night. I'm like, there's no way Jake is losing this fight. I was like, there's just no way. I can't see it happening. Silva's too old. He's keeps his hands down. That's just his fighting style. He's gonna get knocked out. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be a sad day because
I think so too.
Silva's a legend, but it's gonna happen. But so I don't know. That was my thought, but
I think we're gonna wrap it up here because I got to get going. It's getting pretty late, and I got to get another meal in. So I think it's a good place to wrap up. But listen, guys, subscribe to us, leave a like, and leave a comment. Ask us anything in the comments, and we'll respond. And let us know who you want to see on the podcast as well.
Yeah,
we're gonna try to get some guests.
We love having guests. We're even down to have guests every other week.
And let us know if you guys want us to ask any really tough questions to any specific people in MMA, because I would love to ask some guys some tough questions.
Yeah. Also, guys, like if there's a guest you guys want, spam them in our comments.
Yeah.
Spam them in our comments. That's how they'll see us.
Yeah.
So that's the best chance we can get for these guests that you guys want. So spam whoever you want in our comments on TikTok, Instagram, everything. Let's get more people on the podcast. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. If you're not subscribed, subscribe right now. We're on a complete tear right now. You know, we had just had our best week ever. Even better.
And if you're picking, and if you're one of these guys that says, I can't wait to see these guys' faces when Islam wins, okay, like nothing's gonna happen. And I hope Charles destroys Islam. That's the last thing I want to say.
Exactly. Exactly. Actually, I want to say one more thing. Congratulations, Lucas, on 100K.
Thank you very much.
You guys aren't following Lucas.
Appreciate that.
Lucas T Fitness on Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's get him to 200K. Let's do it.
Let's get me to 200. Let's get us to 300. I think we can hit 300 by UFC 280, 100%.
Let's do it. So guys, if you're not following Lucas, on Instagram. Follow Lucas T Fitness right now.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right.
Great podcast. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Awesome.